This is where it's more important, where not many people know how to design the meal that you have before a fast. And even if you're not in Ramadan, this can apply to anything. Coach Greg, and today I'm going to share with you what exactly is the best way to train and eat during the month of Ramadan, okay? In case you don't know what this is, 1.5 or more billion with a B people follow this, okay? It's for about a month, and you can't eat, drink, have sex, smoke cigarettes, chew gum, drink water all day long, okay? During the entire time that the sun's out type of thing, okay? Doesn't matter if it's cloudy or not, whatever, okay? So from dawn to sunset, it's like a fasting time. So basically, depending on the year, it changes. This year, it's around, I think, April 23 or 24, and it lasts for like a month. And during that time, you have to go on a special diet. You can't just eat freely, okay? So I'm going to go into detail how you should train and eat differently during this period of time. I'm going to give you 2 different scenarios. And before I even get into that, I am not Muslim, although I have coached many people during this period of time, including 2 bodybuilders who were competing while this was going on. So if they can actually do a bodybuilding show while this is going on, a normal, average person doing this can certainly get by. So let's first talk about, are you going to lose your gains? Okay, well, basically, studies will show that no, you're not going to lose your gains. It's only a month. Even if you were to train a lot less or do a lot of things differently, it's not going to be the be-end, end-all. Just think, right now, a lot of people are training at home, the gyms are closed, and so on, and it's not the end of the world. You only need about 1/3 of what you did to get there to keep what you got. So even if you reduce your training and whatnot, don't worry about it. Even if you gain or lose a little bit, it's going to come back. What about fat loss? Is this the time? Is this the best way to diet? Oh my God, a month where you can't eat during the day. We're all getting shredded. What does the research say? A couple weeks after, most people end up exactly where they started. So there's no real effect on body composition due to Ramadan, okay? You might be thinking, well, how is this possible? You're only eating at night. How can you possibly gain weight? Well, most people are eating at night, and they're eating a lot more high-calorie dense foods. So they're getting a lot more food, even though they're eating in a smaller period of time. And when you might be not starving, but when you're fasting all day, including not drinking water, you're not likely to go out and do as much cardio and exercise and physical work. So what happens is your net caloric expenditure is reduced during this period of time. Most people will burn off less. Their metabolism slows down. We're not breaking laws of thermodynamics just because we're not eating during the day. Okay, so if you're not training as much, even subconsciously, if you're sitting around and watching TV more, or you're not pushing yourself as hard in the gym or in cardio, you're going to burn less calories. So you're not going to be in a deficit. You need less food. So even if you eat less, you might not burn off any extra calories because you're not doing as much. It would be the same thing like saying, I do an hour walk every day, and now I'm going to go on a diet and stop walking. You might not lose anything because the less calories you eat from dieting would balance off with the less calories you burn from walking. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's start by going into the diet before going into how you should change your training. Okay, so the diet. We have 2 scenarios. One scenario, which is a lot of people I've coached, is they're staying awake at night because that's the time when you get to eat. So they're more up during the night. They're not usually going to bed because let's face it, if you go to bed and sleep the entire time it's dark, then you could never eat. If it's 8 hours of darkness and you sleep the entire 8 hours and you wake up and it's daylight, you can't eat. So you have to plan your night accordingly, okay? So a lot of my clients stay up all night. If this is the case for you, I suggest 3 meals, okay? It's not optimal. It's not going to give you the 100% best gains that's possible, but certainly close. 3 meals a day versus 4 to 5, which is where I suggest most people eat, is going to give you still like 90% of the same benefit, okay? It's enough. So your first meal this year, it's probably going to be around 8 p.m. It's whatever, whenever it gets freaking dark. So that's meal 1. Next meal, probably going to be around 12. Makes sense, about 4 hours later. And your last meal is going to be close to 4. okay? It might be a little bit later, 8:15 or a bit earlier, 3:45, whatever. It's going to be 3.5 to 4 hours apart. So you're just basically spreading out your meals 4 hours apart, and then you fast for about 16 hours. Now, this fasting can benefit some people. There's autophagy that's going to occur. It's going to be somewhat beneficial. Could, in fact, increase your lifespan. There's a host of other benefits, but I've already done a video on autophagy, so I'm not going to explain it all again right now. But know that it can be beneficial, especially for people who are sedentary and who are not extremely active. They're not wasting on Zwift like me. I'm not benefiting from autophagy. I don't need to do that. I need my food to produce my energy for what I'm going to do. You don't want to do a 3-hour bike race if you fasted and haven't drank water for 16 hours, okay? Let's just face it. If you're that kind of person that's up all night, this is the ideal situation. You eat meal 1 and you go train between meal 1 and 2, okay? This is really going to be good. Like, you eat your meal, you've fasted, now you've eaten your meal, you go train, you can come back and then eat meal 2 at midnight or whatever. The other option would be you eat meal 1, then you eat meal 2, then you train, and then you eat meal 3 before you do your fast again. Why is this the case? Well, if you can train during the night, that's the time when you're going to have food in your system and you're going to be hydrated. The problem is a lot of people are not going to be able to train at night and have to follow a different regimen. They're going to sleep, they might have work during the day and so on, and they just can't follow this plan. And that can be difficult, and I'm going to show you why, okay? So let's get into situation B. You sleep during the night, but you're going to eat, you're going to start your food at, say, 8 p.m. You're going to eat, you're going to go to sleep, wake up, 3:30 in the morning, you got to get up early. Because trust me, you do not want to sleep in. You got 17 alarms set. The phone, the handle, everybody's setting alarms. You sleep in, you don't get to eat. Trust me, if you don't get to eat, you're going to make sure you wake up. If you sleep, it's going to suck. So you wake up early, and then you eat your meal before your day starts, because that's it, you're fasting, okay? Now, in that situation, let's say you eat, and then let's say you eat before bed, you eat in the morning, and then you fast all day, and then people will say, oh, but it's the best. You train fasted after a 15-hour fast, you go train and you burn more fat, it's so amazing. Let's even say that that was true. There's a difference. When you're in Ramadan, you're not drinking water. You're getting dehydrated by the end of the day. And if you train dehydrated, that in fact becomes more dangerous and there's a greater risk of injury. You're also going to be weaker. You can't perform as strong, as good, and you can't go as hardcore if you're dehydrated and fasted. So the best situation, if you're doing this, is to train earlier in the day. Train when you've eaten. So if you slept all night and you ate meal 1 at 3:30 and you have to fast for 16 hours, try to eat or try to train before noon, or try not to wait too long in the day. So that's my advice. So regardless of what situation you're in, get your training in soon after, within hours, for example, of when you can eat. Okay? The longer you fast, it's going to take too long and you're going to start getting dehydrated. Okay. What about training? How should training now differ? Okay, this is how it should change. If you're in Ramadan, it's not the time to start going for strength records, to peak for a powerlifting meet, or to go for just bang out, all out intensity. This is the time to exercise proper form, really work on your form, and get the rep range up, focus on time under tension, and focus on building muscle. Think about hypertrophy, building muscle, time under tension, not 5 rep max, more reps, 12 reps, 15 reps, higher rep range, less chance of injury. There's way more chance you're getting hurt going for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rep bench press or squat than doing a 15 rep set of bench press or squats. The weight's lighter, you can use good technique and concentrate on your form. If your muscle's dehydrated, less chance you're gonna get injured, you're not gonna tear a muscle, or any problem that could associate with just ego lifting. So leave the ego lifting at the door during Ramadan. You do not want to try to show off, okay? Strict, proper form, which you should be doing anyway. But in the off season, when you're not during Ramadan and you want to get really strong, that's when you can lift heavier loads and not worry about it as much, okay? If you're fasted, you're not going to be as strong. To perform optimally in the gym for strength, you need to have some food. You need to be hydrated. You need topped out glycogen stores. This will not occur, okay? What about sleep? If you're not sleeping as much because you're staying awake all night to eat, it is crucial that you get in a nap. You need to sleep. You need your hours of sleep. If you need to take melatonin to help regulate your sleep circadian rhythm and so on, do so. Make sure you are sleeping. Don't neglect this. One of the most important variables is people overlook sleep, okay? So overlooked. You need to get enough sleep. You're not going to be as strong. You're not going to be as motivated. You're not going to recover as much if you don't sleep enough. Now, in saying that, one night of messed up sleep is not a deterrent for your performance. So, for example, if you're training for the Olympics and you're nervous all night, you're running the 100-meter dash, you only slept 2 hours because you're like, oh my God, it's the Olympics tomorrow. That's not going to hurt your run. You're going to run just as fast. One bad night of sleep doesn't affect your actual power. You have a powerlifting meet the next day, bodybuilding, you didn't sleep. Yeah, it's not an excuse. You don't need your sleep for the one day. But if it continues 2 days, then it's bad. You're going to have decreased performance. Your muscles won't recover and so on. More cortisol, all bad, okay? So avoid that. Now, what about structuring what you eat, okay? Not just the hours of when you eat, what should you eat, okay? After a fast, as in it's been 16 hours since you've eaten, you want to add food that absorbs more quickly into the body. You need something to get in there right away. Think of it as you have an empty sponge and you want to put some water on it that'll soak in really fast so that you have energy really quickly. You don't put a sponge next to a frozen block of ice and sit there and watch it melt for 10 hours while it slowly absorbs into the sponge. You want the sponge full of water to suck it in now. As far as carbs, that means you need some carbs that are absorbing really quick. You don't break a fast with broccoli. You don't break a fast with asparagus and slow digesting things, corn, whatever. You want some carbs that's going to absorb faster. Maybe some rice. This might be the time to eat some rice. Who cares if it's breakfast or whatever? It's the time to eat some rice. Rice cakes even. Something that's faster absorbing. Oatmeal's fine, whatever in the middle, but you need a mix. So for your protein, you ended the fast, whey protein. This is the best. It's going to absorb really quickly. That's something you want. Egg whites would be better than, say, chicken. So things that are like easy to absorb and digest. Casein would be the slower protein to digest. That would be not as good of a choice as whey protein. So if you have your different protein jugs, that's the time for whey. That's it, okay? Simple. So you do want a mix of all food groups. So you do want to get either vegetables and fruits, get some dairy if you can, and don't think you have to cut out all these different food groups. But for meal one, fast absorbing protein and some slower as well if you want, doesn't matter. Some faster absorbing carbs and some slower absorbing carbs if you want, a mix. And then mix out your vegetables and fruit and dairy and so on. You know, you can have your Greek yogurt, you can have your milk, whatever. We're not cutting out food groups. Now, the next meal of the day, if you're eating 3 meals, it doesn't really matter. You can eat whatever. There's no difference than how you're eating right now. Whatever you've been eating right now, you can keep eating. If you eat pizza, you can keep eating pizza. If you eat burgers, you can keep eating burgers. If you eat salads, you can keep eating salads. You don't need, oh my God, it's Ramadan, meal 2, midnight. I can't eat anything I normally eat. No, you can still eat your freaking French toast. You can eat French toast for breakfast too, because bread is obviously going to absorb quickly, and it's mixed with egg whites that's faster than steak. So French toast is what you want for breakfast. French toast is what you want for meal 2. Okay, this is where it's more important, where not many people know how to design the meal that you have before a fast, and even if you're not in Ramadan, this can apply to anything. Before a 16-hour fast, you want foods that are going to absorb slowly. What does that mean? Lower glycemic index foods, low glycemic load of the total meal. What does that mean? It means foods that absorb slowly. Didn't I just say that? What does slowly mean? Not fast. People make things too complicated. The steak is slow, okay? It takes a long time to digest steak. Rice is fast. Bread is fast. Licorice and jelly beans and candy are fast. Apples and oranges and broccoli and asparagus and spinach and lettuce and peas and corn and okra and onions, slow. Vegetables and fruits are slow because there's fiber in it. Fat is slow, okay? Protein is slow. And then there's varying degrees in what kind of protein. So the last meal, you want it to last a long time. So in that last meal, you want to eat a lot because you need to sustain yourself for 16 hours. So eat a lot. Eat a lot of steak. Eat a lot of whatever you want. Fat is your friend this time because fat is going to be released slowly into the body. It's got a lot of calorie-dense foods, and you're going to be able to eat a lot. So if you're trying to not like cut or lose weight, you're going to want more calories, and you need to eat calorie-dense foods. It's kind of like the opposite of how I would typically tell someone to eat. You want to be full, because if it's just quick absorbing small meal and you stop your fast at 4 a.m., what do you think is going to happen at 4 p.m.? You're going to be starved by then, okay? You're going to want to eat some Chipotle. Right, Greg O'Gallagher? That's what you're going to want to eat because you're fasting all day long. So you can't do it. You got to keep it going. So you want a lot of like steaks and things, slower digesting, chicken, whatever. Combined with a lot of vegetables that have a lot of fiber, loaded up. You're going to fill up your belly. Yeah, you're going to be bloated. It doesn't matter if you're bloated during Ramadan. You're allowed to bloat. Stop with the, oh, I don't want to eat. Yeah, stop complaining, okay? If you don't want to have a big belly, eat more fat. You're allowed to go keto. Experiment. Do whatever the heck you want. But realize that this is just the best way that I'm suggesting for you to do it. Do not skimp out on the fluids. You're not going to be eating or drinking or having sex or smoking cigarettes or whatever for 16 hours. You are going to be sweating. You're going to be dehydrated. It's going to be inevitable. You can't fight it. It is not fun to feel thirsty. Ramadan is not fun, although it's a time of celebration and so on. It is not easy for a lot of people. It's not easy being thirsty. Trust me, I've been thirsty. When I'm dehydrating for competitions and I can't drink water for 24 hours, it is not fun. Hungry is way more fun than thirsty. Drink a lot of water or whatever, fluids. Drink a lot of them. Okay? Doesn't matter if you're bloated. You're going to have to fill your stomach. You're going to need a lot of water. I'm talking like 2 liters, okay? 2 liters in the last meal. Like something like big like this, like a lot. Fill that thing up and drink it and be full. And right before the last minute before, okay, it's time to fast, chug that last sip of water. Yeah, you'll have to pee in the morning and stuff, but trust me, you're not going to want to be dehydrated, okay? Click the bell button, subscribe. Hope you learned something about Ramadan and why people do it and all this stuff and how to train and diet accordingly. You're going to make your gains back. It's not the big deal. It's not the end of the world. 1.5 to 2 billion people are doing this. It's a lot of people, okay? And it varies. Some months is worse than others. Some years is worse, depending on your geographic location. Depending on the time of the year, it might be hotter or colder. You might be sweating more dehydrated. The fasting time might be less or longer. And so each year depends. The time is different. When it starts is different. So it can be hard some years and easy some years. Okay? Take that into account. Don't be like, oh, that's stupid. The Muslim community and all the people who are Muslim, they're doing this. It's their thing. And so you need to respect them and allow for them to do what they do. Okay? So, GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette, IB Pro. You can follow me there. Also, don't forget to watch one of these 2 videos to keep learning. We're always learning. And until next time, I am out.